Hey guys, today we will be digging into one of my most anticipated prospects. But first, if you enjoy the content we're creating, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. You can also find us on Breaker, Google Podcasts, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, and of course Spotify. So let's get right into it. Mounir Lazzez was born in Tunisia and is actually the first fighter that was born and raised in an Arab country to be signed to the UFC. It was actually a friend of Lazzez that recognized UFC President Dana White at a restaurant in Las Vegas and took the opportunity to show Mounir's highlights to him. And Dana White, being immediately impressed by what he saw, took the next steps to sign with the UFC as soon as possible, bringing him on to Abu Dhabi, the fight island. Everything was perfect. The timing was impeccable. Lazzez made his professional debut in 2012 and compiled a 9-1 record fighting for a variety of Middle Eastern promotions, most notably Brave Combat Federation. And we've seen a lot of killers come from Brave Combat Federation, and we're seeing a lot more come up and come through the pipeline of fighters. So let's get into his grappling. We haven't seen too much of his grappling. Most of his opponents have not been able to really impose any kind of grappling on him, and he doesn't rely on his grappling by any means. But we've seen some great work in the clinch. Lazzez is a fantastic kickboxer. I believe his Muay Thai abilities in clinch game is going to be crucial in terms of his takedown defense and overall grappling against the cage. He'll throw nasty elbows and knees. He knows when to dig in for the underhook and when to frame on his opponent, maybe even line up a shot. In particular, he likes to throw that upward elbow right through the guard, slicing elbow through the guard. He actually has some good takedowns when he can work his opponents against the cage. He likes to control them from their hip and take away their legs with trips, cutting angles, or sometimes just lifting them up and pulling them into himself. When he's on top, he has a very solid understanding of the dominant positions. He's really good about figure fouring the legs early to make sure that he can take the mount. He's also good about slipping into side control while avoiding his opponent's attempt at grabbing half guard. We haven't seen him too much on the bottom. We've seen that he has good takedown defense, and then we've seen that he can stand back up. He's really good at using the cage, get back to his feet, and preventing that takedown, landing some damage in the clinch, and then resetting to the stand-up. Now let's get into his striking, because this is where he really stands out to me. He's called the sniper for a reason. He works great at range, being very versatile with long kicks and straight punches, but he also mixes up his ranges pretty well. Once someone enters range on him, he will quickly close the distance even further and throw some upward elbows right through the guards, those upward elbows that I was talking about. He has an amazing understanding of feints. Watching this clip here, how he utilizes some really big feints to freeze up his opponents and get the KO finish. He starts off by feinting out a jab, then quickly transitions that into a winding uppercut. He then steps forward with that uppercut, getting his opponent to pull back on it, then tosses out that left hook on the end. This gets him retreating off to Mounir's right, where he opens himself up for a devastating head kick. He is very adamant about checking kicks. With his Muay Thai stance, it really helps him be in position to check them when they're thrown. He himself has very chopping leg kicks. He prefers to kick to the outside of the thigh rather than the calf kick, like a lot of fighters have been doing lately. He doesn't throw all the crazy kicks in the book, but he does mix kicks to the leg, body, and the head up very consistently. He typically keeps his kicks simple, but if you're at range, you best believe that he's probing you with different kicks. And when he predicts that you might be closing the distance, he'll toss that knee out there to the body. He likes to throw the front snap kick to the head or the teep kick to the body, then combo off of it with punches. He likes to throw that John Jones knee stomp technique against big power punchers. Or sometimes he'll feint high, then go for the knee to the body. I cannot stress enough how perfectly he fits in his knees to his combos. So let's get into future plans. He's coming off of a TKO loss to Warlley Alves due to body kicks. He did come in on short notice, but I'm not looking for any excuses here. He went in there against a seasoned vet who's fought the best of them and even has a submission finish over Colby Chaos Covington. But coming into this fight with Lazzez, you could tell that he did not want this to be a technical exchange. He was throwing a lot of weird combos and constantly clinching up to make it difficult for Lazzez to find his timing. He happened to get him out of there early. I think if this fight would have went longer and Lazzez could have found his timing and his rhythm, I think Lazzez would have honestly picked Alves apart. But I don't see any fights planned out for Mounir as of right now. He was replaced in his fight with Nicolas Stolze due to visa issues. He wants to get back in there, but with the U.S.'s new vaccine mandate on immigration, it's kind of difficult for a lot of these foreign fighters to fight in the U.S. Dana White let everyone know that he's planning on doing a lot more Fight Island for this reason. So back to Abu Dhabi we go. But who knows who else hasn't been able to come out here and make a name for themselves because of this. I'd like to see Mounir fight a salty vet next, like Court McGee or Alex Oliveira. Down the line, I could see some really fun matchups in the top 15. Him versus Daniel Rodriguez would be fun. Him versus Neil Magny would be a treat for the two and long, rangy strikers. I'd personally love to see him versus Leon Edwards in the future. That fight would be a technical masterpiece. And with that, I will go ahead and wrap up my thoughts on the sniper, Mounir Lazzez. I'd like to thank everyone for entering the Kumite with us here today. If you like what we're doing, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Remember, guys, this is not a sport. You don't play fight.